Hi, it's Peggy at Portraits by Peggy. Today we're going to talk about copyright laws. Now, before we get started today, I want to make it very clear that I am not an attorney. This is not legal advice. I am simply a portrait photographer. This is my profession. It's my passion. I've spent many years studying copyright laws, trying to understand them. I do have a copyright attorney that I work with from time to time. So I'm going to give you the information that I know, and hopefully I can clear up some misconfusions. I can clear up some questions that some of you have, and I can just give you some good advice. If you don't agree with my advice, that's fine. But please take the time to go look it up and find the answers for yourself, because copyrights are here to protect you and your photographer. So let's talk a little bit about what a copyright is and who has the right for what. So I'm going to talk about me and my studio personally. When you come into my studio, it is written in the form. It's basically acknowledged that I have the right to use your images for advertisement. So I can put your images on Facebook, on my website, on Instagram, social media, whatever, flyers, commercials, promos, whatever I'm doing. Now, if you don't want me to use your images, I have a little box. You can check it and say, no, do not use my images. No problem. You 100% have the right to tell me not to do that. But nowadays, most people want me to. Most people are more than happy to have their photos out there, especially the clients that I work with now, because I work with a lot of actors and they love to be seen. You know, the more you're seen, the more visible you are, the better it is for you. So that's from the get-go. You have the right to tell any photographer no. So if it's not written down in a contract, you need to ask. Say, hey, just so I know, you're not going to use my images, are you? Blah, blah, blah. Now, even though I do have it written that I can use your images for advertising purposes, I 100% cannot use your images for anything that's going to give me direct income. So I can't sell your images to stock photos. I can't put you on, sell you to a magazine or a billboard or anything like that. I can't sell your images. Using them for advertising is one thing. Selling them and making profit off of it is a whole other thing. And never, ever, ever, ever do I, have I, or will I do that. Now, maybe in the future there may be something where I have a job that requires me to get models, and if that's the case, then I will have model releases for you, and you will know upfront what's going on, and you will be compensated instead of you coming to me to pay me. So, but that's not what I do. I'm a portrait photographer, and I very rarely do custom work, commercial work, and stuff like that. So that's that. Now, your rights. What do you have? Now, I've taken your headshots. Let's just say I've taken your headshots and you've purchased the digital images. What can you do with those digital images? Now, I never give clients a copyright release. What I give you is a print release. Now, what that means and what you have in the verbiage that I give you, you 100% can share them in social media. You can put them on your website. If it's a business website, if it's a personal website, 100% put those up there. Use that for that. Share them on social media. But the one catch is you have to give me photo credit. In other words, if it's social media, hashtag Portraits by Peggy or at Portraits by Peggy. If it's your website, then you put a little blurb, photos done by, portraits done by, Portraits by Peggy. So that's very, very important. And that's normally the rule, whether it's written or not. That's normally part of it. If you have your headshots done or you have your portraits taken professionally, it is industry standard to give your photographer recognition for it. So that's the catch. You can use it all you want for those purposes. You can print as many as you want. You can print them for your wall. You can print them for your grandma. You can print them for your headshots if you're an actor. And you can print as many as you want. But what you cannot do is sell them, the same as me. you can't do that either. You cannot sell them for stock photography. You cannot sell them to a magazine. You cannot sell them and sign them, print them and sign them and sell them. Anything that's giving you direct income, that's not part of the print release. So if you need to do something like that, you need to come back to me and I need to give you a different kind of release form for that purpose. So always keep that in mind and ask your photographer, what rights do I have with these pictures? Because they should know. If they're a professional, this is their profession, they definitely should understand copyrights. Now, the other thing that you cannot do is you cannot change the image. So I give you the digital images. You can't go in and re-edit them. You can't go in and put them through Instagram filters or, any kind of crazy things. That's 100% against copyright law. That is not okay. Now, I know a lot of people think it's cute and so forth, but I do my best to make you look your best. So once I give you that image and you distort it, you're telling people that I did that. They might not understand that that's not what I did. So I really encourage you not to ever do that to me or other photographers. So for me, I always have a lot of retouches that I give you with any session. And if you want, hey, I want some black and white, I want some this, I want some that, I'm always happy to do quick little touch-ups for you because I know if I do it, it's going to be done properly, the levels are going to be right, the contrast is going to be right, and it's going to look good. When you just do it quick through a phone app, it might look great and it might not, but you're putting my name on it. Now, let me give you an example. Let me put this scenario in another way so you can understand. Now, if I went to an art gallery and I bought a piece of art and I took it home and I hung it up on my wall and I went, I think it needs a little more orange right here. So I got my paintbrush out and my paints out and I painted on a piece of art. Well, that's ridiculous. No one in their right mind would do that, right? Because that's the artist's work. And it would make that, piece unvaluable and it would basically ruin it. So that's basically what you're doing. When you're getting a professional image and you retouch it or you add filters to it, you're actually breaking the law, the copyright. So please don't do that. There's only been maybe 2 times ever that I've seen my work that I've actually contacted the people and said, hey, can you please take that off of your Instagram because it had a crazy filter on it. Normally, if I see something and it doesn't look bad, I'll just put a little comment like, oh, wow, what filter did you use? Just to kind of let people know, I didn't do that. And that's my polite way of saying, yeah, that wasn't me. But keep that in mind because that's not just me, that's everyone. So now I want to talk a little bit about something else. And this happens a lot in the industry. And you need to protect yourself from this. A friend of mine, a very, very close friend of mine, last year did a job for a photographer. I think it was probably a Facebook ad that they answered. And the Facebook ad was something like, hey, I'm looking for models for still shot projects. Basically, this photographer was doing a series of kind of artsy stuff, right? And so they were paying the models $100 for, 3-4 hours of work. And my friend did this, and then we were talking about it, and I said, well, I hope you didn't sign over any copyright releases. And they showed me what they signed, and I about had a heart attack. They literally signed all of their rights away. So for $100, that photographer had the right to sell it, to print it, to use it for anything, and make profit for themselves. Never do that. Because what if this project gets big and they make thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars off of it and you made $100? That's not right. And that's not a professional situation. That's someone taking advantage of you. So be aware of that. I know if you have an agent, your agent would absolutely throw a fit and, at least put a clause in there to say, if in the future you sell this, you get so much residuals or something. Never ever sign something without reading it. And if you don't understand, ask questions. And if they explain it to you different than it's written, make them write it that way, the way they explained it, and both of you sign that. Because this is you. You don't want people taking advantage of you. So those are the things that I really, really want people to be aware of, and any big magazine or any promises to put you here or there, the photographer is going to pay you, or the project's going to pay you. So don't think that if you see an ad, oh, we're going to do this or we're going to do that, and they want you to work for free or for almost nothing, and then you sign away all your rights. That's somebody that's actually taking advantage of you. So don't be silly. Think. Read, and realize that the copyrights are in place to protect you, and they're in place to protect your photographer. So as we work together, we help each other. That's what it's there for, is to be safe. Back in the day of film, it was different because photographers made money off of the sale. And so that's why the copyright release was a big deal. You couldn't just go down to CVS and make copies of things like you can today. So now, instead of selling, images per print, photographers have a session fee or, something like that. But the copyright laws are still the same, and they're still there to protect you, and they're still there to protect us. So if you have any questions at all, please leave comments, ask me. I'll do my absolute best to answer them. If I don't know, I'll definitely be able to point you in the right direction. So thank you so much for listening to this. Make sure you go to YouTube, subscribe, share, and I'll see you next week.